Hello everyone, I'm Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer, and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today is a great day. Microfreak just got granular synthesis, and I got some granular sources from Fractal Sounds to test. Today I'm going to be using some of the algorithms from the Microfreak, and I'm going to be using Mycological Granular sources for Microfreak and pigments. Only Microfreak today though. And I'm going to be covering 4 out of the 18 folders of the pack. If you need these trippy sources to transform your Microfreak into a Psytrance machine, the link for Mycological will be in the description. And if you're into the arturia stuff, pigments, mini freak, Microfreak, I have a lot of arturia stuff coming up on the channel, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And now let's dive into the world of granular Microfreak. Let's go. So the first folder we're going to take a look at is the Dragonfly folder. This one is great for either soundscapes or more upfront stuff. You'll see they are pretty expressive with a lot of also filter motion in there. So this is the Dragonfly sources, and that's number 1. I'm currently on scan grains with the Dragonfly source number 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the matrix and I'm going to link the pressure to the filter cutoff. This is going to allow me to play with the filter opening and closing just with the touch of my finger. And the modulation is about 43.6 right now. Like you can see, that really gives a nice opportunity to control the filter with the finger. Now I'm going to go and activate Valhalla Supermassive, and I'm going to use a preset from Fractal Sound, and it's called Profounder. That right there reminds me of the universe of the artist Lorne that I really like. Now let's try other sources. Now that's Dragonfly 02. We are still on scan grains, and now let's disable Valhalla Supermassive so we can work with the dry sound. Now let's go into it grains for fun. So that's a nice result. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and assign the LFO to the wave. So by doing this, the LFO is going to modulate the beginning and the sourcing of the grains. And also I'm going to use the sample and hold LFO. So this is going to give a nice random effect. So I get this nice sound that is bouncing around. And at this point, I realized that I was doing involuntary publicity for Fox mountain bike shocks because I realized that my t-shirt is reflecting on the Microfreak screen. Let's go back to cloud grains now. So I'd say let's try one more Dragonfly source. This one is number 7. And now let's go into scan grains with Dragonfly 7. The next folder we're going to take a look at is the FM Flare folder. These have been made from FM synthesis. You know, they can go back into being FM sounds, or you can also use them and make something else out of it. But you can do some really texture heavy sounds with it, as you'll see. Let's dive into the FM Flare folder. All right, so I'm now in this new preset. I'm currently using scan grains, and I'm using FM Flare number 1 as a source. So I'm going to deactivate the arpeggiator. And I'm also running a bandpass, which is really cool. I think with the FM Flare, a bandpass filter will give a really nice interaction with these type of sources. You can do some nice soundscapes with these sources, but I think they're best used for lead purposes. So let's have some fun. That's scan grains. Now cloud grain with the same source. It sounds pretty harsh right now, but that's pretty normal. You need some bandpass filtering for it to come alive. Also play it on a higher octave. And let's try it grains. I am now into the matrix, and once again I'm going to do that cool trick where the LFO is going to modulate the wave. So again, it's gonna act on the start and the sourcing of the grain. But usually if you have quality granular sources, that's a really nice technique because you can really get most out of these sources by jumping from one point to another, because all the points are made to be relevant. I'm gonna go one octave higher. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assign the pressure to the timbre, and what it's going to do, it's gonna give me some pressure control on the speed of the granular synthesis. So it's really nice to have, again, that on the fingertip, and you can have make some crazy effects with that actually. I'm gonna put a arpeggiator on, but on only one octave, so it's gonna act as some sort of gate. Four octaves now. I really like that result. That's incredible. Now let's turn on Valhalla Supermassive. And now, instead of profounder, I'm gonna go into the medium delays, and I'm gonna use hybrid mist. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the same setup, but I'm just going to switch source. And I think that's something really cool about the Microfreak is once you get a winning preset or a good combination, you can just swap source and you'll get similar but different results since the sourcing is different. That was source number 2. Now number 3. I'm gonna disengage the sequencer. Now let's get 2 more and then we're gonna move on to the next folder. That's number 4. And then maybe 7. Arpeggiator back again. The next folder we're going to take a look at is the grid seeds folder. These are definitely the most abstract of the pack. They are the closest to noise, actually, but they're really great to make these grid type percussive synths in Psytrance, but it could definitely also be used for stabs in Psytrance, Psytech, techno. You'll hear also there's a lot of like gnarly behavior that, I'm sure a bass music producer would take good care of these and get some really cool result also for just some gnarly sounds in bass music too. So let's take a look at the grid seeds folder. Those are the grid seeds, and in the whole pack, those are the closest to abstract and noise and texture in the whole pack. So you can see that for soundscapes, it's really more a texture and almost like a deep reverb, like caverny soundscape. If you had some reverb, of course. But when we start to move around the filter and it's more a bit dry, we really get something that is typically Psytrance. You can note also that I'm playing, I think it's not shown on the camera, but I am currently on 1 octave higher. I really like it. It's so gnarly. Right now, there's no modulation. I'm moving the filter with my hand, but that's a pretty standalone setup right now. There's nothing moving except the filter. So like I said, these are definitely the most abstract sources from the pack. All right, so I'm still going to stay on scan grains, but I'm going to change the source now. That's grid seeds number 2. So I think this one is going to be really interesting to hear with a supermassive preset activated. I'm gonna once again change the preset I'm using. I'm gonna stay in the medium delays folder, but this one is going to be clean trailing. Yeah, very abstract, and there's already enough chaos, so don't need to put more with the knob. And in this case, there's not even a need to modulate the wave position. You know, it's pretty much ready as is. I'm gonna stay on scan grains, but now this is going to be the 4th source. It's crazy because I realized while doing this video, you know, these sources were originally released for Faceplant. So there's a version for Faceplant and the results are awesome. But using these now inside the Microfreak, it's crazy to see how different the results are, but still really cool. But yeah, so just from being in the environment of the Microfreak, it's being processed differently, filtered differently. So the results are very different, but also very cool. Okay, so let's do another one. Still on scan grains, but let's switch source. I think grid seeds number 10 sounds like a lucky number. I'm gonna bypass Supermassive for now. So those were the grid seeds sources, and I think scan grain is enough for these really. I think it's everything that needed to be showcased was showcased for these. I think you get the point. The next folder we're gonna take a look at is the Orbital folder. You know, Orbital comes from the word orbit. There's definitely some height, some amplitude to these. Lots of filter action and very expressive. I'd say similar to the Dragonfly, but with much more movement and a bit more fuzziness sometimes to them. So yeah, I'll let the sound speak instead of trying to describe these. But Orbital is definitely one of my favorite folder. Yeah. So there was, I don't know if you saw, but there was a cat intervention. I think I'm gonna leave it in the video. But yeah, let's dive into the Orbital folder. So I'm going to start with an initialize preset. I'm going to go with scan grains again, because really so far I think scan grains is one of the best way to showcase a granular source. So this is Orbital 1. I'm conscious of what I just said about scan grains, but I think now let's just try hit grains. I'm getting a really thick texture that's really great. And once again, we can do that trick where we take the LFO into sample and hold and we modulate the wave with it. I'm going to go on the matrix, assign all that. Let's give it a lot of modulation, maybe 67.7. And now we really get that nice movement. But I think that in this case, with the high pass filter, we get more of the desired texture. Let's get supermassive once again, but I think this time I'm gonna go into the short delay folder and I'm gonna take that preset called Shotgun. That's awesome. Now let's change the source. I think for this time, I'm going to cycle quickly through the Orbital folder. That was the second one. I'm still on it grains, and this is the third one. I like to do these fast hits. Now that's the fifth. I know I skipped one. I know how to count, but this is the fifth one. What I like about sources like this is that if you hit them on the lower octave, I'm currently on octave -1, and I can go even lower. You really get those almost robotic tones, and if you play them higher, you get these cool buzzy sounds. Let's continue our cycle. That's number 6. That's number 7. Number 8. Number 9. What I like about these is that these are grouped into a folder, and you know, these are the orbital ones, and every folder regroups sounds that have similar behavior, similar properties, but at the same time they're different. So if you have a preset setup, When you cycle through, you'll get something that is along the lines of what you had, but also different. So creatively, that's really good. That was the 12. Now let's go to 15. Wow, this one's mean. So I'm on cloud grains right now. So I'm gonna try hammering these with hit grains. But on low pass this time. Also remember that right now I still have that sample and hold modulation on the start position of the grain sourcing. So that brings some movement. Gonna lower by 1 octave. Lower by 1 octave again. Some really cool liquid tones in there. And we really benefit from the analog filter of the Microfreak. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Like I mentioned in this video, I was surprised how awesome it sounds in the Microfreak for multiple reasons. But also, you know, I've used these sources inside Faceplant and the result is awesome. I've used these inside Pigments. Awesome result too, but different and much more different also in the Microfreak. And that's really nice to notice because you get, you know, new sounds out of these new approach. Also props on Valhalla Supermassive for being so awesome and free. The presets I used for Valhalla are free presets from Fractal Sounds. I'll put the link in the description. The pack is called Fractal Massive and, you know, it's free because it's free land, you know. Valhalla Supermassive is free presets for that. But they are really cool, like you can see they're really Psytrance friendly and also ambient friendly, I would say. If you need some help learning electronic music production, I have a community of students. There's some one-to-one lessons, some group lessons, and a lot of educational content there, especially about granular synthesis because you know, let's be honest, I have a soft spot for the granular synthesis. But yeah, if you need some help, you can come on Instagram. We can discuss how we can help you become a better producer. And until then, I will see you in another video. Happy producing.